Well, welcome to Coombe Abbey. There's a great expanse of water here, holds some massive fish, including 40-pound plus carp and some big bream, which are our target for today. A few months ago I come here and won a match with a few big bream, so I'm going to go through the tactics and show you the different ways I approach this venue. Hopefully we'll get a few pulls as well. There you go, another quality coombe roach. What I'm going to do while my rig's out is I'll show you through my hardware, right through to my terminal tackle. Well, for targeting bream on these big waters, I like to use a 13-foot distance feed rod. This one's a Daiwa Tournament. It's a brand new rod out. It's got reverse rings on it, and it's a really stiff blank with a nice soft tip. It's ideal for casting from anything like 50 metres up to 100 metres. Moving on to the reel, using a big pit Daiwa Basia reel. These are ideal for casting distances because you can get a lot of line on the spool, and because the spool's so large, the line comes off nice and easy and helps you with your distance. On the spool itself, I'm using 010 braid, and that's through to an 8-pound dragline shock leader. Moving on to the business end, through from the 8-pound shock leader, I've got a running feeder which is just running on a small boom, which is running on a little bead, and it comes through to a small sinker, which is a nice stop against a knot. So basically the feeder will just buff up against that, and it's free running. Snaplink can swivel on the boom, so you can change the size of the feeder nice and easily. And then from that, we've got 3 little loop knots. The idea of those is basically they keep the hook length out away from the feeder, so you get less tangle in when casting and reeling in. From that, I'm using an 015 N-gauge hook link, around 4 foot, to a QM1 size 14 hook for the hair rig worm with a speed stop on the end. Usually I'd probably use in open water 013 N-gauge, but because it's quite weedy out there today, I've stepped it up to 015 to give me the best chance if I do hook one of these big coombe bream. To start today's session, I started off by spodding. All I've done is a mini skyliner spod there, and I've absolutely crammed it full of chopworm, castor, corn, and topped the ends off with ground bait. So I've got a big bed of bait down. I've cast this 15 times into the swim. Not tight, I've cast it in an area, so I've got a nice spread of bait. It's very shallow out there, it's 5 to 6 foot deep. So I wanted that bait spread around so I'm not keeping the fish on a tight ball, because you catch a big one, you'll spook the rest. So basically by spodding around, the fish can quite happily eat all the different little bits of bait and the freebies in the swim, and hopefully find my hook bait and hopefully stay there a lot longer. We're halfway through the session now, and it's been pretty slow, to be honest. We've caught some nice roach, sort of 6 to 8 ounce. We're getting plenty of them now, sort of one every chuck. Not really what we want to catch. We want to catch some of these big coombe bream. So I'm probably going to spot again, I think. I'm going to put a few more spods in, so we're putting a lot more bait out, making a bit of noise, making a bit of racket, getting some bait going through the water, and hopefully the bream will come in and find it. Got a massive expanse of water here, so time is of the essence, really. We'll do that and we'll see what happens. Right, today's bait for coombe, we've got 50-50 mix of Ringer's Original and Ringer's Dark. I'll also be adding a few 2mm micro pellets in, so there's plenty of particle in my ground bait. To go alongside with that, I've got your usuals, the bream specials, big bag of dendies. There we go, some nice large ones in there. They'll be ideal for on the hook. And also I'll be feeding corn. So this venue works really well with corn. A lot of carp anglers come here, and the bream tend to munch on the corn as much as the carp. So we'll be putting a bit of that through the feeder as well, and maybe trying it on the hook later. And then obviously can't go anywhere without your casters. Got my casters to go through the feeder. These won't be going on the hook. These are just to hold the fish in the swim and get them rummaging about. It's a great bait. And then last but not least, we've got some dead maggots and some dead pinkies. We've got some flow and red pinkies and some red maggots. These would be used for tipping my worm baits, and if it's really hard, I might be trying a bunch of dead red maggots on the hook. That's my bait for today. Let's get cracking and hopefully catch a few bream. Well, unfortunately today's session's coming to an end. We haven't managed to catch some of the elusive big coon bream, but we've had plenty of roach, so we've had a good day's sport. I hope my tactics, catching the bigger fish, will help you on your own local venues. Spotting, key thing, big feeders, plenty of bait going through. Hopefully you'll be able to find some of the big bream on your local venues.